Oh, bloody hell, mate. This is going to be a slow start. I'm feeling very, I just feel a bit, Oh. A little dusty, a little sleepy. Oh my word. I've already made all the loud noises. Loud noises are gone. This is In the Back of My Head podcast, a weekly journal, all about creativity and whatever the hell I'm working on. I try and get some thoughts out of the back of my head into podcast format so that I might make sense of my own thoughts. It's a fantastic technique, I must say, to get the thoughts out and keep moving forward creatively or just as a person. It's a weird thing to oh fuck, come on, get me to that. Yeah, 250. Beautiful. So last night, let's talk about last night. Last night I went and saw Rickie Lee Jones. He's a famous singer from like the 80s or 90s. And that means she's been doing it a long time. A good long while. And I have like conflicting thoughts about this shit. Conflicting thoughts about seeing older people who've been doing it for a long time. But there's two cases that I really like. One is I saw Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin fame. This is a little while back. But I saw him and he was doing all new material from like a new album that he was doing. And I really felt like he was trying to experiment a lot. Trying to push himself forward, which was really cool. It wasn't settling, because you can play the hits. And to be fair, he did. He played a couple of songs. He played a couple of Led Zeppelin songs, and they were great, honestly. It was cool. I was wary at the start. I was like, I don't know if I want to hear him do Led Zeppelin songs. As soon as he started playing them, though, I was like, oh, nah, I'm here for it. I'm not saying you don't have to just play the hits, because if that's, you're going out there and people are paying for it, people are having a good time, then who the fuck am I to say otherwise, But speaking for what I like, I love seeing older musicians who've been doing it for a long, long time, still very excited to fuck around and find out and try different shit. But the exploration of performing is still the part that they really get excited about. And Rickie Lee Jones last night, she was sitting on the piano, tinkering away, telling a story for like 5 minutes, maybe longer, which I also really, really enjoyed. And she said like she picks musicians to play with her that are willing to go on the journey with her. And several times in the night, it was great to see. You could see that she would start to play something, and each member of the band starts flicking through sheet music and shit, because they're like, where the fuck is Rickie going? Where are we? What song is this? I've never heard this song before in my life. It was very funny. I really enjoyed that part. But then when they met her at the places, when they found where we were going, there was a sense of excitement and a sense of, this is real, this is in the moment, this is actually live. And she said, why do this for so long if you're not excited to go like exploring every time, every night? And I found that very inspiring. I think at the moment I'm very excited that I'm in a you could call it a manic episode. That would be apt. I would say manic episode for maybe a month or so of just really excited doing things like this, even just talking to camera and like making other content and stuff like that. But it's also coupled with then making music and visual art and stuff like this. In go mode, just fucking moving forward, making shit. But I think it's also a slight mentality shift recently, especially post release of my album late last year. There was this feeling of there's a lot of build up. There was a lot of, especially in my head, a lot of build up, figuring out, setting expectations. And now I'm just in the work mode. And I will release, and I've been releasing stuff, putting up like these, putting up blog posts, poetry and stuff like that. And I've got an EP on the way. But it feels easy to just kind of drop shit in more like a content-wise way, Not I don't want it to be like detrimental to the art itself, but rather that mode of just make a thing, put it out, sweet, hunky-dory, no fucking dramas. That feels nice and organic to me. Which I've talked about plenty on here. So that's not really anything new to talk about. But it got me thinking, while seeing an artist who has been doing it for a long time, talking about that excitement of exploration, basically the excitement of making art, that drive. And she's 69 now. And I'm 30. That's a little way to go. That's very fucking exciting. I talk about everything on here. So I've already talked about everything. I'm repeating myself a lot. Sorry for that. But 30 felt weird when it came around, yeah? 30 felt, obviously there is that element of, you should be successful now. You should be successful. And obviously success is completely up to you of what you define it as. And I feel very fortunate that I have a life that allows me to just make shit all the time. But also that I have the mindset to allow myself to do that. That I have cultivated that mindset of just creating shit all the fucking time. So in a way that is success. But there's still that feeling in the back of your head that I want to get out of my back of my head, the podcast, and seeing people who are far further along in their journey, still excited, not about rather like, oh, I made it. Oh, look at all these things that I have because I made it at one point and now there's a fun little thing. I've made it. That means you need to make it again. I know it's there's something there. There's something in there. The idea of like, I've made it, I have succeeded, is very final. I have made it and therefore I'm done? I'm finished? Am I? Is that the end of this tale? I only want to make it so I can make it again and again. The idea of making it, it opens doors. I would say that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest draw to quote unquote making it. To being successful, to being famous, to being monetarily successful, to having cash. I'd love to pay my band, for example. Because I feel weird asking people to just do shit for free for me. Be like, hey, do you want to play in my little band? There's no money in it. You can get a split from tickets, which still means there's no fucking money in it. It'd be great to fucking pay people. There's a sense of making it in that of if you're successful enough that you can throw cash at your problems. But otherwise, I want to maintain that excitement, that degree of curiosity for the unknown of creativity for the next 39 years plus. Hopefully I live forever. That's the plan anyway. I'm not going about it very well. But I found it very exciting to see a person who's been doing this for a long time and explored many different places. Oh, and she said something on stage that really excited me. She said that the person she was playing with, I didn't catch the other person's name, but the singer with her on stage said to her, Rickie, the music you write is like a musical. And Rickie Lee Jones, Rickie Lee fucking Jones. I don't know why it's fun to say. I guess fucking Jones is a fun little couplet. Rickie Lee fucking Jones said that she started doing that. She's now started writing a musical at the age of 69. And she says she's wanted to do it for a long, long time. Oh, isn't that cute? Oh, isn't that nice? And not just because older person's doing a thing. No. But rather so exciting that even at that point that you would still get to be like, oh, I've been wanting to do this for ages and now I get to do it. It makes the long journey look really appetizing. If I'm having fun now, and I get to just keep having fun for the next 40 years, and I've already put in 10 or more as a creative, that's fucking cool as hell. I guess those other musicians or just creatives in general who ride the wave, ride the gravy train, who play their hits, they do their tours of all the greatest hits forever. It's another thing. Maybe you just like performing. Maybe you're just like, yeah, there's a different reason to make art. I think that's totally valid as a counter to my own point. It's like comparing pop music to really artsy experimental shit. Like pop music can still have so much feeling to it, obviously, and it does. But it sort of fills a different role. But you can make there's some function to some art, like you're making music with the audience in mind, and I think that's it isn't the worst. I've talked about this though with Rick Rubin has spoken an opposite of that, of like never think about the audience, just make the shit that you want to make, which yes is also I really value that. But I think that's because I make kind of whimsical bullshit that is very wank and it's very much for me. And so thinking about the audience is maybe to my detriment and to the detriment of the art. But if you're making art, or if you're making, music or something like that has a very clear place that wants to be heard, if you're making stadium rock, then maybe you do need to think about the audience in a stadium when you're making that music. I don't know. I've never made stadium rock. But actually, I did find that with making when I've made a little bit of dance music, I think very much about it for myself, and then I've switched a couple of times when I'm thinking about the audience a little bit more, and I have found that I enjoy the final product a bit more, or I see that it would go better in that scenario. But I really gravitate towards artists that seem to be making art just for the exploration and just for themselves. That's the world that I want to live in. And that's maybe the world that you can do this for 40 years and still get excited by it. Here's hoping. It's going to be a weird 40 years anyway. It's going to be a really weird... really weird experience as artists. I've been using AI a little bit more for my stuff. I'm going to wrap this up in a second, but final thoughts. I've been using AI a lot. Not a lot. I've been using AI a little bit to create some visual work And I'm looking forward to experimenting with that more. I want to get more into the physical space as well. The AI is actually due to a lack of materials that I have at the time. And so I'm utilizing it as a tool to circumnavigate that lack of materials, which, great, art didn't exist because of this lack of materials. AI solved the problem, is but a tool. But that's what it's going to keep doing. It's just going to continue to free us up to make more stuff. So it is going to be an interesting next 40 years, maybe longer for me. Who knows how medical science will evolve and keep these bones going. It's going to enable, hopefully it'll enable that exploration, right? AI will enable exploration of art long into the future in ways that we can't possibly dream of, completely circumnavigating the lack of materials, maybe the lack of tools that we have. Right now, it might be able to generate some visuals or even audio and stuff like that. But wait until it can learn your process and it can basically be your assistant in the editing bay, in the audio software that you're using, whatever. You just tell it to do the thing and it does the thing. Maybe it's bandmates. Maybe it's a bandmate. That's a weird one though, isn't it? There's a risk of losing once it's playing its own creative role. There's probably an element of losing yourself, losing the soul of it. But as a way to circumnavigate a lack of materials or a lack of tools, that's kind of exciting for the solo artist. I think for the solo artist, obviously in the world of like commercial art, a bit more scary of job loss. Anyway, totally different tangent, but sort of related in that excitement for exploration throughout your long life of creativity. All right, is that the podcast? I think so. This has been In the Back of My Head podcast, episode 43, I think. Leave a comment, leave a like and share and all that, but leave a comment about what are you working on at the moment? What are you working on creatively? What are you stuck on creatively? Are you scared of AI art? Do you hope to be doing this at 69? Do you like Rickie Lee Jones? Leave a comment on YouTube, please. Do it. Yeah. And if you like my shit, subscribe to my Patreon. All right, that's enough. I'll see you next time, baby.